And this one is a competitive game where players are each going to be playing as a CEO of their own up and coming fast food chain. Players are going to be hiring different roles in order to operate their business and market their restaurants to the public. But this is a game that also did launch back in 2015, has been quickly making its way up the rankings because it's now the number 38th game of all time according to Board Game Geek, and it's also ranked number 31 when it comes to strategy because this is a game that doesn't have a whole lot of randomness in it whatsoever. So if you are interested in strategy games, this is definitely one to check out. And it is also my own personal pick of the week. And I do have a few reasons for that, and I'll get into more of those in a second here. But this one looks like it has a solid design, and I really do love the unique twist that this one brings to the deck building aspect of the game. And it's also a game that just stood the test of time. It's been getting some great reviews, obviously with its ranking on Board Game Geek reflecting that. And also this one just has a fantastic theme that's a lot of fun, and I am a huge fan of. And it's a nice bonus that this one is getting the deluxeified treatment, and this one is being deluxeified by Lucky Duck Games that has done a fantastic job in the past, and I think this is a game that did honestly need it because the original game was quite expensive and it wasn't exactly the prettiest game to look at. And no, I don't think this one's going to be any less expensive than that original game, but you are going to be getting a lot more for your money here because it has brand new artwork and graphic design, and they're also including the addition of miniatures to really make the board pop out on the table. And this one's going to have much bigger tiles and even a storage solution to keep everything organized, both when you have it stored away but then also when you're playing the game. And it's also going to feature double layered components and deluxeified paper money. And this one kind of did make me laugh because I'm normally not a fan of paper money in board games, but I think in this game it really does suit the theme, and it is kind of fun to be counting money like a rich executive. And then the fact that they did deluxeify it is going to improve a lot of the issues that I do have with paper money, because my main concerns is that paper money just damages really easily and it doesn't age very well and starts to curl and just doesn't feel nice. But because they're making this out of a specific tear resistant type of material, I don't think you're going to be having that issue with this game. But aside from the new aesthetics and upgrades to the game, this is going to be featuring the exact same rule set of the original game, and it will also include the catch-up mechanic expansion as well. This is also going to be a single print run, and they're not going to retail with this version, so if you do want the deluxeified version of this game, this is probably going to be your only opportunity. But if you're not familiar with Food Chain Magnate, this is a game that plays over a series of rounds, but at the start of the game, you're going to be setting up the board with a bunch of randomized tiles, and then players are going to be taking turns placing out their starting restaurants. Once you do that, you're going to be playing through the rounds, with the first action being to choose your staff that you want to play for that round. And like I said, this one is a deck building game, but what makes this one so cool and different from a lot of other deck building games out there is that you don't actually have a discard pile or a draw pile that you're going to be drawing your cards from. Instead, you just get to pick the cards that you want to use each and every round. The limiting factor here is that you can only play as many cards as you can manage, and you only start with one card at the start of the game, which is your CEO card. This one allows you to hire a person, but then it also allows you to manage 3 different people below you. The cool thing about that is that you can actually hire other managers that also allow you to manage different characters below them, and this is how you'll be building up your engine and adding more and more employees to your hierarchy of your company. Players are all going to be choosing the cards that they want to play that round in secret and then simultaneously revealing them. The reason for that is because any empty spaces within your hierarchy are going to be bumping you up in turn order. So if you really want to be first player in the round, you're going to be trying to leave as many spots open, basically sacrificing playing one of your cards there. Once all the players have chosen and revealed their cards, you're then going to be determining the player order, and then players are going to be activating their cards in that order. The different cards can have a bunch of different effects, but the main ones are that they will allow you to add new cards into your supply, allow you to train some of your existing cards into a more powerful version of that card, gather the food and drinks you need from various distribution points out on the main board, or even run marketing campaigns in order to create billboards or radio towers, or even fly planes up above to increase the demand of the houses within range. Some actions can also allow you to place new houses or even add gardens to existing houses, and adding a garden to a house makes them of a higher class, which basically means that they spend twice as much when they buy anything from your restaurants. Of course, this is called food chain Magnate, so it's not going to be much of a food chain if you only have one restaurant. So there are also actions that allow you to move or build more restaurants out on the board. Houses with any demand are going to be resolved during the round, but houses are only going to buy from the restaurants that can fully meet their demand for food and drinks. So if you don't have enough food and drinks at your restaurant, then the house is not going to purchase from your restaurant. If you do have enough, but there's other players that also have enough at their restaurants as well, then the house is going to favor the restaurant that offers the lower prices. This is why it might sometimes be strategic to lower your prices using some of the actions of your cards in order to undercut your competition and generate some revenue instead of none. This, of course, is really important when you're running a business because money is the lifeblood of a company, and at the end of the round, you do have to pay your employees. Some of your employees could be generating you money, while others do cost you money, and any that you're not able to pay at the end of the round, you're going to have to fire until you can meet those payment requirements. The game continues like this over a series of rounds, but this is also a game that has a very interesting endgame trigger because the way that this works is at the start of the game, you're going to have a certain amount of cash in the supply. And then once that completely drains, you're going to be refreshing it twice. And then once that drains the final time, that is going to be triggering the end of the game. So it's not as tied to the number of rounds like you see in most other board games. And players will also be racing to complete different milestones throughout the game, which will grant some different ongoing or instant bonuses. And players will be taking advantage of this and just trying to accumulate as much money as possible because it's the player with the most money at the end of the game that wins. And if you are interested in this one, you can check it out. I'll have links in the description below.